I'm very excited today to share with you my 5 tips for implementing mindfulness on a daily basis. So the really easy ways to kind of check in with where you're at, ground yourself, and make sure that you're living that kind of intentional, values-based, present life that you really want to lead. So, grab some tea, go outside on your porch, grab your cat or whatever, and we'll get right into it. What are you doing, cat? No. First is actually something I'm really, really bad at. I'm gonna be really honest, I'm bad at it, but I have been trying for weeks now to better myself at this, and that's a morning and evening rhythm. I'm not good at routine. I'm very bad at routine, and I don't always like it, but I've realized that it's really good for me. And one of the ways that it really helps me be mindful each day is by starting and ending the day with a routine. And I love using the term rhythm because it just, it's more about a flow than it is about really being strict in what order I do things, that sort of thing, but I'm trying to really lean into that. So it's about slowing down and making sure that my morning and my evening are both calmer and more focused and more driven. More focused on what I need in the day and what's gonna allow me to get things done or to cope. So I'm actually, if you'd like to see videos on my morning and evening rhythm and how I've kind of developed those and how what my routine looks like, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, because I'd love to share that with you. I'd love to make some more videos about it because I've worked really hard on implementing that in my own life. But I would say that that's one of the easiest places to start, is if you feel like your day is very disconnected, start out by making sure that your morning and your evening go well, so you're getting enough sleep, so that you're planning your day in a way that allows you to accomplish what you want to accomplish, and so that you can make room for that slow, connected time with yourself where you get to check in with who you are and what you want. Cat's sitting over there. She's being so good. I don't know what changed. My second quick tip for mindfulness is what I call a mindful moment. So it's something that I implement throughout the day, usually when I'm switching tasks or if I realize that I'm not engaged in the task that I'm currently working on. I'll take a moment to check in, to try to ground myself and focus on what I'm actually doing. So whether that's literally checking in with my body and focusing on my breath and taking a moment, maybe even just a moment to meditate, a couple minutes to meditate, or just to notice the sensation of breathing. That's one really, really easy way, because the breath is always something you can go back to and check in with. The other thing that I'll do is pay attention to my sensations, my senses, the things that I'm experiencing while I'm doing that particular task. So maybe if I'm folding laundry, I pay attention to the way that the fabric feels, the way it feels under my fingers, how crisp it is, how soft it is, the different textures, or the way that the clean laundry smells. So the task at hand, I'll pay a lot of attention to, because I think that that's a really easy way to engage with the moment and check in. I keep using that term, like I've said it 1,000 times, I swear, in these videos, but that's really what it is noticing. It's noticing what comes up, noticing what's new, and really paying attention. So whatever task I'm doing, I'll do that. And sometimes if it's not about the task specifically, but I just need to ground myself, there's a little activity that a lot of people do that I know it goes around the internet a lot. You might see little graphics about it, but it's just a 5 senses activity where you notice a few things from each of those different senses. So it might be notice 3 things you smell, and 4 things you hear, 3 things you see, and I don't think that the number matters as much. There is a specific system that a lot of people use, but I think it's more important that you just take time to notice each of those senses. And maybe you'll notice that certain ones work better for you. I know that for me, touch is a big one, and sound. Smells will also take me to places really quickly, but they're not something that I notice as easily. I feel really, really grounded if I'm paying attention to the way things sound. So that might be the wind through the trees or the sound that my shoes make on pavement. Those really help me kind of engage with the moment. And like I said, I'm also very tactile. So if I'm walking along the street or in a park or something, I often will touch the bark on the trees and kind of have a moment of connection, which sounds very hippie, I know, or very witchy, but it really, really helps me because that texture, that sensation helps ground me in the moment. It might be the feel of grass under your feet, or I mean, so many little things, petting your pet, you know, like that physical contact. Not only is it already kind of calming and soothing, but that helps you to engage in that moment. So whatever senses you're using, you might be able to notice 3 things that are blue or something and pick a specific color. But I try to take these mindful moments throughout the day when I know I've been disengaged or when I kind of need to reset. And that's really, really helpful for me, especially because I get distracted really easily. So being able to focus on the task at hand and be present with it, or on the people who I'm with, taking that moment to really pay attention, really listening, noticing those things that you're hearing or how someone is speaking can all be really helpful. And it only takes a minute to do that. I mean, it's really just a few seconds for each sense in order to see where you're at. My third tip is actual meditation or mindful meditation. There are so many resources that you can look to on YouTube, on the internet. You can get on Spotify, so many different resources where you can listen to people do guided meditations. You can even just put on soothing music, because music has a huge influence on your mood and on your state of mind, and do these meditations. I've been using the Oak app lately, which is super simple. It's very minimal. There aren't a lot of options on it, but I think because of that, it's very, very clean. And I like that. My favorite is probably the loving kindness meditation. So I'll do that a lot, especially if I'm having a rough day. It helps me check in with myself. I get a moment of self-care, and I've had time to actually meditate and be mindful. You don't have to do it for very long. It can be a 2-minute thing. It can be a 20-minute thing. You can do it for as long as you like. You can work up to longer times, but I would say that that's another really, really good way, whether you incorporate that as part of one of your morning and evening routines, or you do it at a certain moment while you're at work or working from home now, because a lot of people are doing that, and you might need that minute because it's a very different change in environment and in routine, so it can be very tricky for some people. So giving yourself that time to check in that way, I think is really, really good. And I find it really helpful. My fourth great tip, I think it's great, I do this one all the time, is move your body. I know, especially right now, that could be very difficult. Working from home under extra stress, sometimes that is not at all what you want to do, but moving your body will help. Whether that is yoga, which I love and do frequently, an actual workout routine, there are a lot of resources online, or just going for a walk. Going for a walk is excellent. It helps you get into your body. You can connect with nature. You can connect with your surroundings and do that 5 senses activity while you're walking. All of those things are going to be really helpful, but moving your body is so good. Dancing, you know, not only is it going to release some of that pent-up energy and stress, but it really helps you ground yourself and feel what you're feeling. It's such a great release, and it's such a great moment for being present and being mindful and connected. I love it. I like to dance, you know? And then my fifth, big number 5, my fifth mindfulness tip is actually to check in with how you're feeling every day. And I do that by writing it down. That's what I think is most helpful. So I started a mindset journal because a small wardrobe, who I watch very often here on YouTube, does a mindset journal. And I saw her video about it and I thought it was brilliant. And I've been doing it for several weeks now. And it has transformed the way I approach my day. And one of the biggest things is writing down how I feel every day and checking in with what I'm experiencing. It has changed a lot since I started. You know, I would feel like sheer general anxiety because I experienced that a lot, or some of the other emotions, you know, that you feel on a regular basis, maybe being tired. But the last couple of weeks, all of that has kind of ramped up, the anxiety, things like that, the uncertainty, whatever it is that I've been experiencing, whatever you might experience when you write this down. But keeping track of that has made a huge difference. I always do it as part of like my morning rhythm, and then I do it again in the evening. I don't write down as many things in the evening, but I always check in. I'll go over my goals briefly, you know, like you normally would with something like that, but I'll check in with how I feel again. It's usually not as detailed in the evening, but it's really good to kind of see if the day has changed, if the activities that I've participated in help to shift my perspective or my thoughts and therefore my emotions. It's been really, really helpful for me to spend some time really engaged with how I feel. I think we live in a time where so many try to avoid the real feelings and avoid how real it is to just experience difficulty. Like we don't want to experience that. And I think that now, since so many people globally are more stressed, are more insecure about things, I think we've really tried to, there's been this great sort of communal rising to being more open and authentic and reaching out for each other that I think is really good, and a bit more openness and honesty about how we feel. And when you're someone who experiences like anxiety or depression or has other like mental health issues on a regular basis, being able to talk about those things with people, especially now when everything's heightened for everyone, whether they experience that or not, is really, really good. There's such great room for connection, but we can't really connect with other people unless we're connected with ourselves. So I really love this idea of checking in with how I feel every day. So I do that as part of my mindset journal, and I love it, you know? And I think there's so many ways that you really can just try to jump yourself into the present. Get out of your head and get back into your life, you know? Out of your mind, into your body, into the present. And I try to do that in all the little things I do, and try to make sure that when I feel stuck, it's something I can implement, because it's made such a difference for me. Obviously, I'm not an expert or a therapist, or I don't have any qualifications like that, but I do practice mindfulness regularly, and I can say that it really does impact my life. And I'm really grateful right now when things feel so uncertain and I'm not really sure exactly what comes next, that I can still utilize these tools that I've been practicing to help my life stay fulfilling, and to remember what it is that I really value, and making sure that that's all intentional, because it's hard. I mean, maybe not all of it needs to be intentional, but at least some things we should be doing with purpose, and remembering what we want to do with our lives and where we want to be and what we want to achieve, and embracing that sometimes life changes and we have different circumstances, and no matter what those circumstances are, we can do something about it and sit in it for a little while if we have to. Move forward when we can. Baby steps count, you know? So I'm trying to remember that right now, when I know that there's not a lot that I can control as far as what's going on in the world, but I can try to implement this in my life. Slow down, focus, embrace, connect where I can. So, if you'd like to see more intentional living content from this artsy witch, you go ahead and click the subscribe button and ring that notification bell. I'd love to hear from you. Go ahead and leave comments if there's anything specifically that any content you'd like to see from me. I'd really love this to be a bit more a community experience. I want to know what it is you'd like to hear and what I have that's valuable to you.